There are no secrets hidden in faraway mountains or locked away in forbidden books. Some truths are so powerful, they're tucked deep inside you, right beneath your skin, in the invisible temple of your body. Today, you're about to discover one of them. Let me ask you a question. What if I told you there's a muscle in your body, invisible to the eye and forgotten by most, that has the power to raise your energy, unlock your vital force, and awaken your sleeping awareness? No, I'm not talking about a muscle you see or train at the gym. I mean an energetic fiber, a hidden center of spiritual power that's been honored for centuries by yogis, Taoists, and soul seekers, but today gets overlooked in our fast, disconnected modern lives. This muscle doesn't just transform your body, it changes how you think, feel, and live. It's called the pubococcygeus muscle, or simply the PC. To most people, it looks like just another part of the pelvis, but to those who know how to feel it and activate it with focus, it becomes a key, a sacred gateway to higher energy, inner balance, and emotional control. The PC acts like a bridge between worlds. When it's active, you not only strengthen your body, but ignite an inner fire, a current that flows from your base up through your spine, like a serpent of light. This isn't just imagination, it's pure energy in motion. Some call it kundalini, others ascending ki, and some just call it life force, and you can activate it. Why does this matter? Because we live in a time of disconnection. We go through the motions, but inside we feel empty. We lack strength, clarity, and direction. Not because the world is broken, but because we've forgotten how to light our own inner fire. We've handed over our energy to screens, noise, and distractions. This isn't just a how-to video, it's a call to reconnect. Here, you'll learn what and where this invisible muscle is, and why waking it up can deeply change your energy, mind, and vibration. You'll see how ancient practices used it to raise consciousness, and how you can start using it in your daily life today to find your center again. So if you've ever felt scattered, foggy, or out of sync, stay with us, because the muscle that could change everything isn't in your back or heart, but in the most surprising place, right at the base of your being. In ancient cultures, the body wasn't seen as a machine, but as a sacred temple, a small universe where the same forces that govern heaven, earth, and stars flow through. The sages didn't study muscles and bones like modern science. Instead, they saw the body as an energetic system, woven with invisible channels carrying the essence of life itself. At the heart of this sacred body was a center both fundamental and mysterious, the base, the energetic root of the human being. Taoists called it the lower dantian, yogis the muladhara or root chakra. Different names, but one truth. This is where life force begins. Inside this ancient space lies a point of physical activation that rarely appears in modern texts, but was cultivated in secret practices, the pubococcygeus muscle. The ancients knew it well, even if they didn't call it that. It was key in practices like Taoist sexual qigong, yogic bandhas, and tantric energy exercises. For them, mastering this muscle meant controlling the inner fire. In tantric traditions, controlling the pelvic floor was essential to raising kundalini energy. Practitioners kept this area strong and alert to let energy rise from the root, moving through each chakra until it blossomed at the crown like a 1,000-petaled lotus. Without that root, without an awakened PC, energy drifts away aimlessly. Taoists talked about preserving essence, not suppressing sexual energy, but refining and transforming it into spiritual power. How? By consciously contracting the base muscle, guiding the ki up the spine. It was an inner alchemy, a subtle art. Even in ancient Egypt, certain postures and rituals targeted this same area. Though their writings avoid anatomy, their body positions show they understood. Whoever controls the root controls the whole temple. This muscle isn't some new wellness trend. It's a forgotten gift, a tool sages used for longevity, clarity, and divine connection. Modern life's rush pushed it aside. But true wisdom never disappears. It just waits for someone to find it again. And maybe today, that someone is you. Picture your body as a temple with sacred chambers, secret doors, and hidden gears. Some gears are invisible but come alive with intention. They're like hidden keys that, when turned, shift your whole energetic vibration. The PC, that unseen muscle at the base of your pelvis, is one of those keys. Anatomically, it's part of the pelvic floor, stretching from the pubic bone to the tailbone. But calling it just flesh and bone is like describing a candle as only wax and wick, ignoring the flame. When you activate this muscle consciously, it sparks something much deeper, the rise of the inner fire. What is that fire? Esoteric traditions call it a primal energy resting at the base of the spine. Yogis call it kundalini, Taoists ancestral ki. In many cultures, it's the breath of life. Dormant, it curls like a sleeping dragon in your center. Awakened, it transforms and purifies. Here's where the PC plays its role. Precise, focused contractions push that energy upward, like pumping air through a bellows under a chimney. The fire begins to climb. As it moves up, warmth travels along your spine, reactivating neural pathways, clearing your mind, awakening your senses, and sharpening your focus. This isn't just metaphor, you can feel it. When you engage the PC with attention, you might notice a tingling, a subtle pressure along your spine, even a boost in mental alertness. It's like an internal fog lifts. The practice is simple but requires focus. Contract the muscle as if you're stopping the flow of urine. Hold it for a few seconds while breathing deeply, then relax and repeat. At first, it's just a physical action, but over time, you learn to combine it with intention, visualization, and mindful breath. That's when the physical becomes energetic. This small movement sets off a chain reaction. Your body grounds itself, your mind quiets, energy starts flowing, and when energy flows, your frequency actually rises. But there's more. The PC also connects directly to willpower. The pelvic area is where impulses, desires, and raw creativity live. By mastering it, you don't suppress those forces, you channel them. What once felt like chaotic urges turns into focused fire. This is how discipline without stiffness and creativity, without chaos, come to life. People who practice daily report benefits far beyond the physical. Mental clarity, emotional insight, sharper intuition, and a strong sense of presence from head to toe. That's the secret many ancient traditions tried to pass down. You're not broken. You're just out of touch with your source. And that source isn't an external talisman or a complicated ritual. It's hidden in a muscle no one ever taught you to use, but it holds the map back to yourself. So far, we've learned that the pubococcygeus muscle, that hidden thread at the base of your being, is more than anatomy. It's an energetic lever, an ancient mechanism that can raise not just your frequency, but your consciousness. And here's the most fascinating part. Activating the PC doesn't just lift energy, it also brings buried stuff to the surface. When you send energy upward, everything trapped inside starts to move. Old emotions, silent traumas, subtle blocks, they all come up. Why? Because this muscle controls more than physical functions. It's linked to the root chakra and the core emotional center where fear, guilt, shame, and unmet desires live. Activating the PC is like clearing stones from a spring source. At first, the water's muddy, but then it runs clear. That's why many beginners feel mixed emotions, relief mixed with anxiety, clarity followed by tears, joy alongside deep reflection. This isn't accidental, it's the alchemical process happening. Raising your frequency isn't about escaping heaviness, it's about transforming it. The PC acts as a bridge between the animal and the spiritual. Controlling its contractions is like taming your inner wild horse. Raw energy becomes focused, instinct turns into creativity, survival evolves into consciousness. In tantric traditions, people used it to conserve sexual energy and raise it toward the heart and mind, turning desire into compassion, passion into wisdom. On a biological level, PC activation stimulates the pudendal nerve, which connects to the parasympathetic nervous system, helping you relax, digest, and heal. This isn't mystical, it's energetic biology. Done right, your body enters a state of awake calm, totally relaxed yet fully present. In that balanced place, neither asleep nor restless, magic happens. Intuition opens, perception sharpens, the mind slows down, and the soul gets a chance to speak. But there's one more thing, the sacred connection. Many traditions say that engaging the pelvic center is the first step toward deeper meditation. Taoists say, "He who controls his root can hear heaven, for from the body's base rises the vertical axis to the source." The PC is the internal elevator that takes you from the material ground floor to the highest realms of spirit, awareness, and unity. And the greatest gift? This muscle gives your power back to you. It reminds you that you don't need a guru, a lucky charm, or a fancy technique, just presence, breath, and a simple act of bodily attention. Awakening the PC awakens an ancient promise to fully inhabit yourself from root to crown, living fully lit instead of fragmented by life's noise. The puba coccygeus isn't just a muscle, it's the switch for the embodied soul. True power isn't about flashy feats, but everyday acts. Now that you know the PC is your energetic key, the next step is to use it wisely, consistently, and respectfully. Activating the PC isn't a trend or a wellness fad. It's a sacred practice, a personal ritual of reconnecting with your deepest energy, the primal fire that modern life tends to dull. So, here's my first piece of advice, more philosophical than technical. Treat your body like a temple, not a battlefield. Many approach it with guilt, pressure, and self-criticism, but PC activation calls for the opposite. Loving attention. Before contracting, listen. Before training, honor. The body doesn't respond to punishment, it responds to presence. Energy doesn't rise by force, it rises by harmony. Second, practice every day, not as a chore, but as a ritual. Spend 5 to 10 minutes each morning or before bed activating the PC. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and gently contract the muscle as you inhale. Hold it, then exhale and release. Do this with intention, not just as exercise, but as an energetic invitation. Third, add visualization. Imagine that contracting the PC sparks a flame at your base. See that flame traveling up your spine, lighting up each vertebra until it reaches your crown. This symbolic act brings together body, energy, and imagination, a forgotten creative power. Fourth, combine your practice with mindful breathing. Breath is the bridge between body and mind. With each PC contraction, breathe slowly and deeply. This syncs your nervous system, wakes up your energy, and anchors you in the now. Fifth, notice how you feel inside. Turn your practice into a sacred experiment. What do you sense before you start? What emotions come up? What clarity follows? Take note. Be a witness to your own change. Remember, what you measure grows, and what you honor blossoms. Sixth, protect your energy throughout the day. It's no use raising your frequency in the morning, only to lose it to distractions, worries, and stress. Guard your energy, not out of fear of losing it, but out of respect for your treasure. Your energy is sacred. Treat it that way. Seventh, be patient. The invisible grows in silence. The PC has been asleep for a long time. Don't force it awake. Instead, awaken it gently, like tending soil before planting. Its effects won't explode all at once, but will unfold slowly and surely. This isn't a quick trick, but a journey, and like every sacred journey, it rewards those who walk it with a fully awake soul. Sometimes in life, we feel like something's missing. We can't quite say what. It's not love, money, or time. It's deeper, more essential, like we've lost connection to a source that once effortlessly supported us. Today, we've talked about that source, and even more, the door that leads us back to it. The pubicosagius muscle isn't just a physiological curiosity or a simple exercise. It's an ancient, living spiritual technology, a forgotten map of the sacred body, a key that, when turned with intention, doesn't just awaken energy but awakens presence. Because this practice isn't only about raising your frequency, it's about reconnecting with yourself, filling the inner space you've left empty for years, reclaiming control over your body, your energy, your choices, your life. And it all starts at the base, in that place most people neglect, where the hidden meets the essential, where the body stops being an unconscious machine and becomes an altar. We've traveled from anatomy to the subtle, from the practical to the mystical. You've discovered that this muscle sparks an invisible current, capable of transforming your thoughts, your emotions, and your vibration, capable of carrying you from fear to inner power, from confusion to clarity, from stuck to fully alive. But remember, no knowledge is valuable without practice. The map is open, the door is right in front of you, but it's up to you to open it every day with quiet humility. And that in itself is a kind of prayer. So I invite you not to leave this as just words. If something stirred inside you today, don't ignore it. That vibration is your soul saying, "This is the way, come back to yourself." Activate that muscle, not for technique, but out of devotion. Do it not to gain something, but to remember who you are. Because every contraction sends a message to the universe. I am here, awake, present, ready to fully inhabit myself. And when the universe hears that, it answers with guidance, meaningful coincidences, and renewed energy, not from outside, but from deep within, from the very root of your being. Thank you for traveling this far. If this video touched you, raised questions, brought clarity, or whispered a quiet sigh, share it. Not for me, but for you. Because every awakened soul lifts the frequency of all. And if you choose to start this journey, you won't walk it alone. Until we meet again, remember, your route isn't the end. It's the gateway to your awakening. Have you ever wondered why you came into this world under one constellation and not another? Why certain paths pull you with an invisible force while others, no matter how logical, fade without a trace? Since the dawn of humanity, sages across cultures have looked to the sky not as a simple backdrop, but as a living library of symbols and intention. The movements of the heavens were once seen as a divine language. Every alignment was a verse, every planet an actor in the great drama of the soul. And you're no exception. You were born at a precise instant, not a second earlier, not a second later. That moment carries an energetic signature, a sacred seal holding the map of your soul. In this video, we'll step into what many call the Ancient Codes, a forgotten wisdom showing how the sky at your birth doesn't just reflect your personality, but whispers hidden purposes, chosen challenges, and the core lessons your soul came to embody. We'll explore the idea that your natal chart is not just a psychological profile, but a sacred manuscript, a stellar codex mapping the divine design of your life. We'll speak of planetary alignments as energetic portals, zodiac houses as inner temples, and aspects as archetypal forces dancing within you. This won't be a dry astrology class. It will be an initiatory journey, an invitation to read the sky as the soul's mirror. You'll see how Saturn's motion reveals your karmic cycles, how your moon holds the memory of your spiritual childhood, and how the sun in your chart doesn't just shine outward, but reminds you of the unique way you are meant to radiate from within. Understanding your astrological plan isn't about predicting the future. It's about remembering the pact you made before you forgot. It's about reclaiming the sacred language spoken by ancient initiates and recognizing that your soul is not lost. It's written in the stars. Stay with me because you're about to remember something you've always known. Once you read what the sky inscribed in you, you'll never see yourself the same way again. Before astrology was reduced to casual horoscopes and entertainment columns, it was honored as a sacred science, a path of spiritual revelation and initiation. It wasn't born from superstition. It grew from a deep reading of the soul incarnated in time. In ancient civilizations, sages didn't separate the cosmos from the human being. To them, what was above reflected what was below. This hermetic axiom, as above, so below, was not just poetic, it was law. The sky was a living mirror, and every celestial movement echoed inner psychological and spiritual processes. In Egypt, temples aligned with constellations. Pharaohs were not crowned without consulting the heavens. It was believed the soul, upon entering the body, chose a precise cosmic moment that sealed its mission on Earth. That moment was encoded in the natal chart, regarded as a map of the divine plan. In Babylon, astrologers were also priests. Their role wasn't to predict trivial events, but to read the will of the sky and guide the collective soul's evolution. Eclipses were calls for transformation. Planetary transits were cosmic rites, and zodiac cycles were spiritual initiations. The Greeks, inheriting this knowledge, gave it philosophical form. For Plato, the soul came from the stars, and returning to the celestial world was life's true purpose. In his view, the birth chart was the tympanum of the psyche, the membrane vibrating with the cosmos's harmony or dissonance. It wasn't blind fate, it was a script for consciousness. Even in ancient Vedic traditions, Jyotish, the science of light, was one of the 6 pillars of spiritual knowledge. Each planet was a living intelligence, a divine archetype shaping karma, not to limit us but to push us toward awakening. True astrologers were not just interpreters of events. They were readers of souls. They decoded celestial symbols not to control life, but to reveal its deepest meaning. Every chart was a sacred codex, a fragment of the soul in geometric form, a bridge between the infinite and the incarnate. With the rise of rationalism and the breaking apart of knowledge, this vision lost its soul but not its spark. That flame still lives in those who remember the cosmos is not outside us but within us. That we are not lost passengers but star travelers with a forgotten plan. And that plan, engraved in the dance of the stars at your birth, isn't written to predict you, but to awaken you. Picture this. Before you were born, your soul sat in a cosmic chamber surrounded by great celestial archetypes. Each planet offered an energy, a lesson, a gift, and a challenge, not as punishment but as fertile ground for growth. "Are you ready to incarnate?" the stars asked. "Yes," your soul replied, and you chose the exact moment to descend. That moment sealed a contract, a vibrational agreement between you and the universe. That agreement lives in your natal chart. The birth chart is not just a map. It's a living mandala, an energetic framework that encodes the paths through which your soul will awaken. Each planet is an archetypal force, each sign a unique vibration, each house a zone of the incarnate soul, and every aspect is a conversation between energies, sometimes harmonious, sometimes tense, sometimes challenging, depending on how they're integrated. Let's start with the key players, the planets. In esoteric astrology, they're not just rocks floating in space. They are living entities, archetypal intelligences that dwell in the sky and in your psyche. The sun represents your essence, the solar core of your purpose. Its sign and house reveal how you're meant to shine and what you must overcome to live from soul instead of ego. The moon, keeper of emotional memory, shows how you were nurtured and how you need to nurture yourself. It speaks of your earliest emotional wound as well as your capacity for deep self-care. Mercury reveals how you process the world, communicate and interpret reality, and at its core, how you translate the soul's language into human words. Venus and Mars, the dance of love and action, show how you give and receive affection, how you act with passion or hesitation, and how you go after what matters to you. Jupiter and Saturn speak of expansion and limits, of the generous teacher and the disciplined master. One opens doors, the other teaches you to build lasting foundations. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto represent forces beyond personal control. Resist them and they can break you. Embrace them and they transform you. The houses where they appear reveal where these energies will manifest. Your sun in the 12th house. Then the light of your soul isn't found on the public stage, but in retreats of the spirit, in silence and inner work. Your Mars in the 7th house? Your battleground isn't about conquering the outer world. It's relationships themselves. And then there are the aspects, those invisible lines connecting planets. A square isn't bad. It's simply tension between parts of you that haven't yet learned how to work together. A trine isn't automatically good. It can easily become a comfort zone. What matters is how they interact, and whether you choose to be the conscious mediator of that conversation. This is where astrology becomes alchemy, because when you understand how those energies move within you you can start working with them intentionally. The unconscious becomes visible. Chaos becomes clear. Cycles become predictable. And with that, power is born. The power to stop repeating patterns without knowing why. The power to direct your energy from the soul rather than from reactivity. The power to live your design as a conscious art. Until now, we've explored the visible elements of the celestial map, the planets and their alignments. But like every esoteric symbol, the birth chart is also a multi-dimensional hieroglyph. Its deepest meaning isn't found in the data alone, but in the silences between them. The ancients knew the soul couldn't be summed up by a checklist of zodiac traits. They understood each chart is a score, but the soul is the performer. Some carry maps filled with harmony, yet never play the music. Others are born with tense, complex aspects and still become alchemists of their own being. Here lies one of the most mysterious principles of ancient astrological wisdom. Your chart doesn't dictate who you are. It shows what you have the potential to become. Take the ascendant. More than a social mask, it's the soul's doorway into the body, the frequency with which spirit began its earthly journey. It's not just how others see you, it's the core approach your soul chose to navigate life's density. A Scorpio ascendant doesn't just signal intensity, it tells of a life of transformation, of symbolic death and rebirth, where truth is often torn out by fire rather than gathered gently. The midheaven, the chart's highest point, represents the culmination of your journey. It's not just about career or vocation, it's the solar purpose expressed in the world. It's where your soul longs to leave its mark. Beyond the visible planets, there are subtle points, hidden keys the astrologer priests of old revered. One is Black Moon Lilith, which points to the primordial wound of spiritual independence. Wherever Lilith is placed, the soul feels an ancient tension between desire and exile, power and shadow. It's a secret code about your spirit's memory before birth. Less a psychological wound and more a sense of metaphysical exile. There lies a force that can only be released when you stop hiding it. Another is the North Node, which marks the evolutionary path. It's not what's comfortable or familiar, it's what the soul came to learn, even when the personality resists. The South Node, by contrast, shows the skills and strengths you've already mastered. Leaning on them as a refuge, however, can halt your growth. Here begins the real spiritual work of the mystic astrologer, teaching you to live your chart as a process, not a sentence. Because no one is their chart, you become it by consciously aligning with the archetypes in your map. When you take Mars and turn it into constructive strength rather than destructive anger, when you channel Saturn's discipline into building your mission instead of undermining it, when Neptune stops being a fog of confusion and becomes a gateway to divine inspiration. But here's one of esoteric astrology's most potent, uncomfortable truths. Until you become conscious of your map, it will live you. You'll react from your aspects, repeat your patterns, get lost in the transits, thinking, that's just life. Only when you wake up can you choose. That's why the natal chart is more than a map. It's a tool for liberation. It doesn't tell you exactly what will happen. It shows what's possible, what can be activated if you're willing to see through the soul's eye instead of the mind's judgment. The chart doesn't predict, it reveals. It doesn't bind, it offers the keys to your inner temple. When you see it this way, you stop walking as a victim of fate and start living as a co-creator of the sacred plan you chose before you forgot. knowing you have an astrological plan is powerful. Living by it, that's the true act of alchemy. It's not enough to simply know your natal chart. What matters is living it, step by step, day by day, in the way you think, feel, speak, and act. A map is useless if you admire it from a distance. It has to be lived in body, spirit, and will. Here are 5 keys, not surface-level tips, but transformational practices to help you start walking in alignment with your cosmic design. First, make your natal chart a mirror for self-awareness, not an excuse. Some people discover difficult aspects and give up, saying, "I'm just like this because Saturn is in my first house." That's not the way. Your chart isn't meant to trap you. It's meant to show you what you're here to transcend. Treat each aspect as a doorway to growth, not as a reason to stay stuck in your shadows. Second, see planetary transits as temporary teachers. Every transit, Pluto, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, activates parts of your chart like a knock at your door. This isn't random, it's an invitation to initiation. When Saturn moves across your sun, it's asking for structure in your identity. When Neptune touches your moon, it's urging you to dissolve emotional illusions. Don't resist them. Ask what they're here to teach you. Third, honor your North Node as a compass. No matter how skilled you are at what you already know, your South Node, if you don't move toward your soul's evolutionary direction, you'll feel stuck. Every week, ask yourself, what can I do to move toward that destiny that feels uncomfortable but necessary? Fourth, create personal rituals that move with the moons and planetary cycles. Practical astrology isn't passive, it's an energetic dance. At the new moon, plant intentions aligned with your chart. At the full moon, notice what's coming to fruition and what it's time to release. During Mercury retrograde, reflect, revise, and realign. Don't live on the sidelines of the sky. Move with it. Fifth, meditate with your personal planets as inner archetypes. Close your eyes and imagine your Sun, Moon, and Venus as living beings. What do they look like? What do they say? What kind of energy do they radiate? This may seem symbolic, but it can unlock deep layers of your psyche. Remember, the planets aren't just above you, they're also within you. Living from your natal chart doesn't mean everything is set in stone. It means you hold a detailed blueprint of your inner temple. And like any temple, it needs to be walked through, honored, and breathed in. Make your chart a quiet companion, not a judge. Not a decoration, but an inner teacher, reminding you every day who you came here to be and which parts of you are still waiting to awaken. The natal chart isn't an oracle dictating your future or a checklist limiting who you can be. It's an ancient code, a celestial manuscript your soul wrote before you were born, trusting that one day you'd remember how to read it. Deep down, you've always known your wounds weren't random, your gifts weren't just genetics, and your life wasn't an accident. There's a hidden rhythm, a music that's been playing since before your first breath, and maybe now, for the first time in a long while, you're starting to hear it. You don't have to become an astrologer to live by this code. You only need the awareness that there's a sky within you, and that the planets aren't pulling your strings from above, but reflecting the plan you designed for your own evolution. Spiritual astrology isn't about prediction. It's about recognition. Recognition of patterns that repeat until you see them. Recognition of dormant potentials waiting to be awakened. Recognition that everything has its own timing, its own symbol, its own language, and that you hold the keys to unlock it. Imagine for a moment that all your experiences, even the hardest ones, were chosen for a higher purpose. that every shadow was placed to teach you, that every planetary alignment was a brushstroke on the canvas of your soul. So what do you do with that knowledge now? Maybe you start noticing your days more carefully. Maybe you give yourself permission to honor your natural rhythm instead of running yourself like a machine. Maybe, for the first time, you feel you're not lost. You're exactly where you need to be. And from that place, life changes. Not because the sky changes, but because you start reading it with new awareness. The sun in your chart isn't just ego, it's your source of light. The moon isn't just emotion, it's your sacred root. Saturn doesn't just limit, it shapes you so you can sustain your mission. Neptune doesn't just confuse, it invites you to dissolve illusions and connect with divine inspiration. Each planet speaks, guides, and reminds you because your soul comes from the sky, and that sky, in the moment you were born, drew your divine plan in symbols. Now more than ever, you're ready to remember it. And if you choose to listen, your life will stop feeling like chaos and start feeling like what it's always been, a sacred journey, a cosmic dance, a story written among the stars, yet told through you. And what if I told you that everything you perceive, every object, every thought, even your own body, is nothing more than vibration frozen into a temporary form? And what if there was ancient knowledge showing how the frequency of your being could reshape the very fabric of reality? Picture this. You're not made of solid matter, but of music. Every cell in your body sings a specific note. Your soul hums at a unique frequency, like a delicate string on the harp of the universe. Now imagine that long ago someone wrote a book explaining how to tune that string, how to change your vibration, and in doing so, transform your world. That book is known in occult circles as the Book of Cosmic Vibration. You won't find it in public libraries or academic catalogs. It's an esoteric work wrapped in secrecy, whispered about only among initiates. Some say it's a lost manuscript. Others claim it was never written on paper at all, but passed down from master to student as a living frequency, knowledge beyond language itself. According to legend, the book reveals teachings guarded by the hermeticists, drawn from the law of vibration, one of the 7 laws in the Kybalion at the core of hermeticism. This law states nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates, everything that exists, from a stone to a thought, is in constant motion. And understanding that motion isn't just an intellectual exercise, it's an act of power. Why does this matter? Because if everything vibrates, then everything can be tuned. And if you can tune your own vibration, you can change your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual state. You can align with higher realities, free yourself from the weight of your conditioning, and perhaps most surprisingly, influence the world around you, not by force, but by frequency. In this video, I'll guide you through the invisible corridors of this legendary book. We'll explore what the law of vibration means from a hermetic point of view, why frequency is the substance of spirit, how ancient sages used sound, rhythm, and silence to shape reality, and how you can start vibrating differently to live differently. This isn't just information, it's a vibrational initiation. So quiet the noise of the world. Take a deep breath and prepare to open the hidden pages of a book that isn't written, but resonates. When the sages of Egypt spoke the name Thoth, the god of wisdom, the divine scribe, they didn't say it casually, as one might mention a myth. They spoke it with reverence, as though the name itself was a living frequency, an intelligence dwelling in the spaces between time. It is said that Thoth gave humanity the principles of creation, encoded in the mythical corpus hermeticum. Among them, the law of vibration was seen as the first to understand and the last to truly master. At the heart of Hermeticism, the ancient philosophy merging Egyptian wisdom with Greek esoteric thought, students learned that the universe wasn't the result of random chance or mechanical force, but of conscious vibration, the logos, the word, the creative utterance. This was not metaphor, but living metaphysics. All is mind. The universe is mental, declares the Kybalion, one of the most influential Hermetic texts. But this mind, this universal consciousness, doesn't express itself as static thought. It expresses itself as oscillation, a primordial rhythm moving from the invisible into the visible. From that rhythm, worlds, atoms, ideas, and bodies are born, each a different expression of vibration. Here lies the mystery of the Book of Cosmic Vibration, a grimoire of the universe's soul. No physical copy has survived, if one ever existed, but its vibrational traces run through countless spiritual traditions, in shamanic chants, Vedic mantras, the sonic seals of Kabbalah, the Pythagorean mysteries. Across them all runs the same truth. Sound and frequency aren't just art, they're spiritual technology. In the mystery schools, like the House of Isis, initiates were trained to listen deeply, not with the ears but with the whole being. Only those who could hear the hidden vibration in all things were ready to speak the original language of the universe. Vibration was seen as the secret alphabet of spirit, and the Book of Cosmic Vibration was its master key, a guide for elevating, transforming, and directing energy through resonance. It wasn't a book you read. It was a book you lived, felt, and became. Written not on paper, but woven into silence, its wisdom is unlocked not through study, but through attunement. And now that you've come this far, only one question remains. Are you ready to remember the language your soul already knows? Everything vibrates, everything moves, nothing stands still. That's one of Hermeticism's core principles. But what does it really mean? What hides beneath this poetic truth that points to a precise cosmic architecture? To truly grasp the Book of Cosmic Vibration, you have to see the universe not as a solid structure, but as an endless ocean of dancing energy. Everything you see, touch, or think is made from invisible strings vibrating at different speeds. Some vibrate slowly, dense and heavy like stone or fear. Others vibrate quickly, light and expansive like joy or compassion. Matter is condensed energy, and energy is vibration in motion. This is as ancient as the pyramids and as modern as quantum physics. At the subatomic level, there is no solidity, only patterns of movement. Everything vibrates. You vibrate. Your thoughts vibrate. Your intentions vibrate. So if all things respond to frequency, doesn't it follow that someone who masters their vibration can shape their experience? This is the heart of the Book of Cosmic Vibration. It doesn't just claim this truth, it teaches you how to use it. It shows how to tune your body, mind, and spirit to different frequencies to transform reality from within. Picture your consciousness as a radio. If you're tuned to a low frequency, fear, anger, anxiety, you'll only receive experiences that match that vibration. But if you raise your frequency through thought, intention, word, or sound, your experience of reality changes, not because the world itself has shifted, but because you are seeing it from a higher vibration. This principle isn't just theory, it's something you experience. The body responds to sound, the mind to rhythm, and the soul to vibrational coherence. That's why so many spiritual practices aim to shift your vibrational state. Chanting mantras isn't just an act of devotion, it's reprogramming your frequency. Deep meditation isn't simply relaxation, it's tuning in to higher planes. Rhythmic breathing isn't just about oxygen, it's striking an inner chord that resonates with cosmic harmony. According to the hidden teachings of the Book of Cosmic Vibration, every emotion has its note, every thought its resonance, and every person their own bass tone, a natural frequency that can be elevated or distorted by habits and choices. Here lies one of the great pillars of hermetic wisdom, the human being as a self-tuner. We weren't born just to survive, we were born to resonate. When we vibrate at the right frequency, matter responds, circumstances shift, energy aligns, and intention turns into creation. This is one of the universe's most powerful yet overlooked principles because knowing it isn't enough. You have to live it. But the art of vibration isn't without its shadows, echoes, and dissonance. Mastery requires more than knowledge. It demands a finely tuned presence. Vibration is everything, but not everything that vibrates is in harmony. The Book of Cosmic Vibration warns that while everything vibrates, not every vibration brings clarity, expansion, or light. Some are illusions, noise disguised as melody, chaos dressed up as ecstasy. True mastery begins not with raising your vibration at any cost, but with discerning its quality. It's not just about intensity or high frequency, it's about vibrational coherence. A frequency can be elevated yet out of alignment, seducing the spiritual ego, inflating illusions, and leading to false awakenings. How do you recognize this? Those who claim to have received fragments of the book in deep meditation say that any vibration aligned with the source creates inner stillness, not ego-driven excitement. One of the traps along this path is mistaking elevation for escape, believing that feeling light automatically means you're closer to spirit, when in reality you may be disconnected from your body, your shadow, and the earth. True vibrational elevation doesn't float away. Root and crown must stay in constant dialogue. Just as an instrument needs balance, tension to stay in tune, the soul needs grounded presence to hold higher frequencies. Too much elevation without grounding leads to collapse. Too much grounding without vibration leads to stagnation. That's why the book teaches that vibration is alchemical, not linear, a dance of opposites, light and shadow, expansion and containment. Every dense emotion isn't meant to be suppressed, but heard because it carries information. Anger has a note, fear a pulse, sorrow an echo. The goal isn't to avoid these frequencies, but to transmute them through awareness, to tune them, not silence them. This is conscious vibration, the intentional act of tuning every aspect of yourself, mind, body, emotions, and energy field to a higher purpose. It's cultivated through simple but potent practices, breathing in sync with your heartbeat, chanting sacred sounds, listening to the subtle hum within your body, visualizing patterns of light in meditation, and noticing your thoughts as if they were musical notes, seeing which ones repeat, which clash, and which uplift. These practices are the living chapters of the Book of Cosmic Vibration. They're not read, they're embodied. Another hidden teaching says that every place, person, and object carries a vibrational signature. Just as harmonious sounds can heal, certain outside frequencies can distort. Human relationships are essentially the meeting of resonances, and illness often arises from long-standing, unaddressed dissonance. That's why the initiate must develop what the alchemists of the soul called the subtle ear, not to hear the outside world, but to sense how your inner world reacts to it. Every response, every shift in your heartbeat, every sensation is a note in the ongoing conversation between your soul and yourself. Living vibrationally isn't just about feeling good. It's an art of balance, deep listening, and unseen mastery. When the instrument is finally in tune, reality begins to respond, not because something new appeared, but because you've aligned with what's always been there. Living in harmony with the law of vibration doesn't mean floating in constant bliss or chasing peak states like a collector of spiritual souvenirs. It's something subtler and far more demanding, becoming a constant tuner of your inner state. Vibration isn't a final destination, it's a living flow, a tapestry woven anew with every thought, emotion, and choice. So if you want to bring the wisdom of the Book of Cosmic Vibration into your daily life, you don't need complex formulas. You need to live in vibrational presence. Here are some simple but powerful practices to get started. 1. Set your frequency each morning. Before you check your phone or let the noise of the world in, sit quietly for a few minutes. Breathe with intention. Feel into your body. Ask yourself, what vibration am I putting out right now? That single moment of awareness already begins to shift your energy. 2. Use your voice as a tuning fork. Sing, chant mantras, or even vocalize basic tones like ah, or e. Your voice can change your vibration in profound ways. Treat it like a sacred instrument, not just a channel for complaints or casual talk. Speak as if your words are shaping reality, because they are. 3. Tune in to your heart's field. The heart's electromagnetic field is stronger than the brain's. By breathing in rhythm and focusing on gratitude, love, or compassion, you literally rewire your vibration. A few minutes of genuine emotion each day can transform your energetic state. 4. Choose silence over noise. Many vibrational imbalances come from too much input. Screens, chatter, constant stimulation. Create space in your day. Turn things off. Walk without headphones. Let silence tune you. In silence, your true vibration becomes clear. 5. Be selective with your surroundings. People, places, and habits all carry a frequency. If something leaves you drained, it's a sign your energy is working too hard to match it. Spend time in environments that lift you up, not ones that simply distract you. 6. Use symbols and art as vibrational anchors. Certain colors, patterns, and sounds act as resonant codes. Keep mandalas, crystals, music tuned to 432 Hz, or meaningful phrases nearby to keep your energy aligned with higher states. 7. Live in internal coherence. The strongest vibration comes from your thoughts, feelings, and actions moving in harmony. It's not about reaching the highest possible frequency. It's about tuning each day to your deepest truth. When you vibrate from a place of authenticity, the universe doesn't just notice, it responds. Now that you've walked through the mysteries of the Book of Cosmic Vibration, it's time to pause. Not to end, but to feel. Let the words fade so their essence can resonate. This hasn't been just information, it's been a mirror, reflecting a frequency that, if you've listened with an open heart, is already moving within you. You've learned that everything in the universe vibrates. Nothing stands still. Every thought, emotion, cell, and circumstance carries a frequency, and what you call reality is simply the collection of vibrations you're in tune with. But beyond knowing this, what matters most is what you feel right now. Do you notice that quiet inside, that presence you didn't realize was there, yet is with you now? That's what it means to be vibrating differently. This hidden book, whispered about among mystics and soul alchemists, doesn't need paper to be real. Its wisdom is carried on living frequencies. Its pages are written in the quantum field, in symbols that only reveal themselves when you're tuned to them. By arriving here, you've already begun to read it, not with your eyes, but through experience. Let's remember the keys you've been given. Vibration is the essence of the universe. Your personal frequency shapes what you attract, how you think, and how you feel. Raising your vibration isn't about becoming light. It's about refining your internal alignment. Every sound, thought, emotion, and environment shapes your field. The greatest act of spiritual power isn't controlling reality. It's vibrating from your deepest truth without division. From this moment on, everything can change. Not because the outside world suddenly shifts, but because you choose to relate to it differently. And that choice changes everything. You don't need complex rituals or gurus. Just silence, listening, and the willingness to tune in. You are a cosmic instrument. You choose the melody you play with your life. Don't leave these teachings in the realm of theory. Make your life a place of practice. Breathe with purpose, speak with truth, listen with your soul. Tend your vibration as you would a sacred flame. And above all, remember this: when your frequency is true, the universe opens like a doorway, and the book stops being a myth. It becomes you. Thank you for walking this path. If these words resonate, share them. Someone out there may be waiting for a vibration only you can offer. I'll meet you on the next frequency. Until then, may your vibration always remind you who you are.